Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video on the Model United Nations training series. In today's video, we're going to talk to you about GSL or the General Speakers List and why is it so important? How do you make a great GSL speech? Also, about how do you give away your time? My name is Kevin, and I've been training students for Model UN and various other oratory activities for more than past 10 years. And today we're going to talk to you about the GSL. So let's get into it. So first of all, what exactly is the GSL or the General Speakers List? It is that space in the Model UN which is also known as a formal discussion space where you can talk whatever you have brought as your research and you present it to the executive board and to the rest of the committee. So ideally your GSL speech should present your stance as to what exactly does your country want to talk about. What exactly is your country's stance? What does it say according to what world issue you are solving? The second is your argument. So, are you blaming somebody? Are you getting blamed by somebody? Are you trying to defend a particular claim? Are you offering help? Are you asking for help? Or are you being the devil's advocate between two different nations? All that becomes a part of your argumentation. And last is the call to action. What do you want from the people? What do you want from the rest of the delegates? What do you want from the executive board as a help or from the rest of the entire committee as a help? That's your CTA or your call to action. A general speakers list is usually for a time of 90 seconds, and sometimes it can be amended to 60 seconds if the committee wants it that way. All right. So that being said, you'll ask me then, Kev, how do you make a great GSL speech? For a great GSL speech, the first thing is always start with a hook. Okay. Now your hook can be of three types majorly. One is your quote. You can use a quote that is said by some great person to catch the attention of the room. The second thing is a claim. A claim is basically just a statement that you make. It can be like the sun rises in the east or cigarette smoking is bad for health, right? And with these claims, then what you do next is you can go on with your speech and the rest of it as to why you made that claim. And another way of having a good strong hook is use impactful statistics. For example, the bombings in Paris caused X amount of people to die, or the rise in sea level by X amount is causing the island of Kiribati to drown at the ratio of Y. So when you add these statistics here and there and you make these sentences as a starting statement, it catches the attention of everybody who is actually listening to you. And then they want to know more. What do you want to say after that? So that is why you can use even an impactful statistics as a really, really good hook. Your next step is talk in brief about what the issue is. Talk about the causes and talk about the effects as to what caused the issue and draw the timeline, show them the timeline that these set of events caused the issue and the effect on the people, on the environment, on the infrastructure is so and so. Okay. Now, once you've spoken about the causes and effects, then you go on to talk about your stance. So, what is your nation's opinion about it? What is your stance? What is your nation's opinion? What have you brought as your own logical thinking? What is your country's opinion? And what actions is your country taking? That should be your next set of statements. Post that, you go on to talk about solutions that did not work out in the past. Don't already go on to give out new solutions because you've not yet made this particular concern a world concern. So go on to talk about what solutions didn't work out in the past, and then you give your solutions, then you give your suggestions, and trust me, it works wonders. A few additional tips that I have for you all are that make your country's problem a world problem. When you make your country's problem a world problem, then all the other nations around you want to support it. They want to come. They say that, okay, yeah, you know what? Even we are having a similar problem. Come, let's join together. Let's form a block and let's make a resolution together. Next is make sure to be very specific about what is the concern that you're dealing with. Let's say take an example of global warming. If you have an example of global warming, there are multiple concerns. There's rise in sea level, there is pollution, there is melting of glaciers. But in all this, what exactly do you want to pinpoint? What do you want to work on and pick out the solutions? Be very sure about that. Next is to use analogies and your own personal research. Don't go for research that you will get directly out of a chat GPT because or any particular AI tool or search engine, is because your chairperson, your executive board knows exactly all this because they have done the particular topic already too many times, right? And use your own analogies, use your own logic. That is what you're actually judged upon during your model UN. Mention your sources in your speech. So whenever you plan to use a particular fact, it's a good practice to mention your source, saying that, according to XYZ source, this is the fact that I'm stating. Okay. So this whole idea is about how do you make a good GSL speech. Now, the last 5 tips that I'm going to give you is the most important, is that in any of your speeches that you make, always remember to blame another country, get blamed by another country, offer help, ask for help, and play devil's advocate between the two nations. All right. That being said, so let's say you spoke, and this is maybe your next GSL, third GSL speech that you've gotten an opportunity, or your second GSL speech that you've gotten an opportunity. So let's talk about yields, or how do you give away your time. So first, you have yield to questions. Yield to questions, very simple, that you allow and open the room and the rest of the house to ask you questions as to what you have just spoken about, and then you answer them. So a really nice trick what I teach over here is about, sometimes when you give out very little knowledge and questionable knowledge, everybody in the room asks you questions. And when you're able to answer those questions, who's the smartest person in the room now? It's you. Okay? So you can use this in your MUNs. The next is about yield to comments. In yield to comments, is it's not about saying, wow, what a beautiful speech, or nah, you didn't speak well. That's not yield to comments. A good yield to comment is when you open the room to comments, and the people who comment, or whichever delegate wants to comment on your speech, talks about supporting your opinion, that yeah, I support what the person is saying, or no, I do not support what this delegate is saying, I want to oppose it, or even for that matter, I would like to offer my help to this particular cause, or we totally disagree and we feel that this what this particular nation is doing is absolutely unacceptable. All right, so that is how your comment should be based on. Next is yielding to another delegate. So let's say you have made a particular nice framework and you've laid down something very substantial in your committee room, and you want another delegate who's an ally nation of yours to build on it. You can always let them know beforehand and tell them that I want to yield my extra time to this delegate, and they could support you in your argument, which will make your argument stronger. However, the time that you get the time that is given away to that delegate does not get added to their personal time or their particular GSL speech. Okay, so either they use it or they don't. That's the end of it. The next is yield to the chair. The yield to the chair is simply saying that, chairperson, executive board, here's my extra time. You tell me what you want to do of it. And usually the chair elapses the time, or sometimes they can open it to either questions or comments. Open the house to questions or comments. All right. So with that, all the delegates watching this, I hope you really liked the video. I hope you really learned a lot from this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments and I will answer them. And if you want to schedule a training for Model UN with me, feel free to reach out via email. There are a lot more videos based on Model UN that are going to be coming up. So stay tuned and keep watching, and do like, share and subscribe to this channel if you have not yet already.